Good afternoon, everyone. Today is April the 10th, 2025. We are beginning our Professional Services Committee meeting for ALCOSAN. We will begin with roll call. Ms. Prater.
Emily Kincaid. Emily Kincaid.
Here.
Dr. Shanna Tharp Gilliam.
Present.
Sylvia Wilson.
Here.
Darren Kelly.
As an alternate. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We'll begin with informational items, and we have an RFQ for the Regionalization Program Management Services. Ms. Williams.
Madam Chair, we have made good, if not great, progress on regionalization. If nothing else, it is no longer a four-letter word to our customer municipalities. At the same time, we're kind of straddling. We have 1 foot in the program as it has existed from the beginning, and 1 foot into where the program is going. So the planning, preparation, the initiation of transfer, that's 1 foot. Preparing and moving into operation and maintenance of what's being transferred to us, that's where we're tipping into 51 miles of 265 miles to come. This changes who we are. I maintain this is the most significant program we have running here at ALCOSAN, and it is time to revisit the program management. With that, Mike, please talk a bit about the scope.
Yeah, thank you, Arletta. Members of the board, as Arletta stated, this is a request for qualifications for regionalization program management. We are at a tipping point, as Arletta stated. The scope of work involves overall program management, municipal coordination, the facilitation of infrastructure transfers, in obtaining Part 2 permits for these new facilities. It includes asset management and the development and implementation of a capital improvement plan and an O&M plan, with particular emphasis on the latter two. Like Arletta stated, we are at a point where we need to transition this plan into a new plan to successfully operate and conduct capital improvements on these transferred facilities. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you so much. It's always good to hear as we continue to progress all the plans we've talked about for so long. It's good to see it coming to fruition. It really is.
Amen.
All right, we are going to move into action items, and we'll begin with item A, which is a motion to approve the following shortlist for the assessment of regionalized regulator structures. These three on the shortlist are DLZ, Gannett Fleming, and MS Consultants. Ms. Williams.
Madam Chair, sticking with the theme of regionalization, once you get it, you've got to do something with it. Just what we were talking about, this tipping point of moving into actually owning this stuff. Mike, please clarify what this contract will address.
Thank you, Arletta, members of the board. Yeah, this action item is a shortlist recommendation for the assessment of regionalized regulator structures. This project is being largely consent decree driven, given that we are now acquiring new combined sewer overflow regulators as well as sanitary sewer overflow regulators, and along with that, the responsibility for the overflows to the various streams and rivers in those areas. Along with this, we comes new regulatory reporting requirements and new capital improvement requirements. We've currently transferred 15 regulators with which we have permitting responsibility for currently. We anticipate within the next year, we'll have 40 additional regulators. So along with that, we're have to conduct capacity assessments. We're going to have to report on overflows in a typical on an annual basis. So it's quite an involved scope of work. So we received 10 qualification submissions from having problems today. Qualification submissions from interested firms. These submissions were reviewed by technical staff, and based on number of requirements, including team experience, proposed staff, and the overall capability to perform the work. Based upon the staff scorings, we are recommending that the firms of DLZ, Gannett Fleming, and MS Consultants receive RFPs to perform this work. Request for proposals.
Yes, okay, thank you. Do I have any questions or comments from the committee members? Okay, hearing none, could I have a motion and a second to approve?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it is appropriately approved. Item B is a motion to recommend modification of service authorization 389 for Brown and Caldwell for additional work associated with the wet weather pump station's final design for an amount not to exceed $874,177. Ms. Williams?
Madam Chair, coming back into the plant now, or what I should say will be the interface of coming back into the plant. The wet weather pump station, this contract was awarded to Brown and Caldwell, I believe, 2 years ago this month. Pretty sure it was April 23. And there have been changes in what we originally identified as scope that will necessitate this adjustment or modification. Kim, please speak to what the need is.
Sure thing. Thank you. Members of the board, yes, Arletta is completely correct. We took this final design of the wet weather pump station to professional services in the board 2 years ago in April of 2023. And since then, Brown and Caldwell has been advancing the design of the pump station that we are getting ready to bid next month in May of 2025. But there have been some just fundamental changes that necessitated some out of scope work. We had a value engineering session like we always do for these larger projects, and some of the recommendations from that session did require some redesign, but it will ultimately save us during construction. It reduced the level of effort during construction, so we thought that was a good investment during the design phase. The schedule has been extended. The design schedule has been slightly extended by a few months because of the extended permit reviews and some extended back and forth important dialogue between DEP and the city to make sure that we get this right. It's a pretty big investment. And then we also had some additional architectural involvement. This is a giant building, so you'll see it, you know, from the bridge and from the river. But we also wanted to sort of incorporate it into the some of the smaller gate control buildings associated with the Ohio River Tunnel. So for all those reasons, there was additional fee required. But the design phase of the project is coming to an end, and we are prepared to go to bid next month. And I would take any questions that you may have with respect to this modification request.
Do we have any questions or comments? All right, could I have a motion and a second to, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's been approved. Item C is a motion to recommend the modification of service authorization 400 for Osborne Engineering for additional work associated with the inspection of 300 feet radial brick chimney for an amount not to exceed $56,110. Ms. Williams.
Madam Chair, doesn't look the same on paper as it does in person. It's the chimney that is iconic, that can be seen by people who cannot figure out how to get here to where it is. Osborne was retained, as this indicates. This will be a continuation of service. They were retained for the inspection of the chimney, and out of that inspection came recommendations. Kim, if you would speak to what is being requested.
Yeah, so we awarded this contract to Osborne last summer in June. They immediately came out, did the inspection, and submitted the report in December. And some of the recommendations in the report were some additional follow-up work that would extend the useful life of the chimney. And like Arletta said, it's an important part of our campus. It's an important part of our history. We want to make sure that that chimney is taken care of. So they're going to do some additional drone imaging and do some like post-processing data for a 3D image so we can keep an eye on it. And then some minor repairs here and there for just increasing the structural stability of it. And also doing some a little bit more advanced baseline measurement so that we can use that data moving forward and keep a closer eye on it. We're happy with the services to date. The rest of this work should be completed by the fall of this year. So it's a pretty quick turnaround.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments, committee members? All right, hearing none, the usual, need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, it is approved. So these three items they're approved to be presented to the full board later this month.
Madam Chair, I would modify that slightly.
Slightly, okay,
The B and C will be taken to the board. You
but not
approved the
A.
short list, correct?
Yes, not A, B and C. You're absolutely right. All right, thank you so much for correcting me.
For the
see
record.
I see there's no new business. So we will adjourn and our next meeting is May the 8th. Thank you all. Be safe and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank
you.
you.